Welcome to the Okavango Delta. This is the BBC Earth takeover of the BBC Earth YouTube channel. We are streaming live from Botswana, the heart of the Okavango Delta. My name is Gordon Buchanan. I'm one of the team. I've been a wildlife filmmaker for over 30 years. I'm one of the team that helped make the first series of Big Cats 24/7. We are in. This is live from the BBC, the film camp here. This is all kind of purpose made. Brad's going to do a little tour of the camp and show you around. You might wonder if the series is already airing in the UK and in the States. In the UK it's BBC, in the States it's on PBS. You might wonder why I'm still here. I can let you into a little secret, or you may well know that we're making a second series. So if you have watched the first series and love it, you have to be a little bit patient because there will be another series to come, another 6 episodes. I can't tell you that much about it other than we're here for another month. And I would say that the things that we have captured, the behaviour across the range that we've captured for the second series is as exciting, if not more exciting than season 1. This is a first for BBC Earth, coming to you live from a very remote location. I'm going to stand in the shade. It's just 3 o'clock in the afternoon here, and it is the hottest part of the day. I just checked my thermometer. It is 41 degrees, so I'm hoping that the live link equipment and the satellite stays up and running. So wherever you are in the world, welcome to the Okavango Delta. Welcome to the Big Cats 24/7 camp. Over the next 45 minutes, Brad's going to give you a tour of the camp. I'll give you a tour of the truck and the equipment and that sort of side of things. But we're also going to have a Q&A with Sets and Anna and Brad. You will have an opportunity to ask questions. In the comments box below, you will see you can ask your questions there, and we will try to answer as many as we can. Don't forget to tell us whereabouts in the world you are. You might be in somewhere sort of far more remote than we are. Before we go on, there is also something that we want to find out from you. There is a poll on our Instagram page. We want to find out from you, which is your favourite of the African cats? Is it leopards? Is it lions? Is it cheetahs? We'll reveal that at the end, but you can do that on the Instagram page. Questions in the comments below. That is enough for me. I'll take you up these steps. The cats are the most important characters in making this series. Close second is this fine gentleman, Brad Bestelink. We couldn't have done any of this without Brad. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, not hardly most important, but all important.
Yeah. So anything, you've been standing here for a little while, anything mooching around?
A lot of elephants coming down, Sesame, a few buffalo, lechwe. Nice vantage point from the camp. This is, as you know, this is the last of the water in the area, and everything is now being drawn up to our camp. There's a lot of activity very close by. We've got 3 leopards that we know of, and lions, 4 lions, some new cubs. There's a whole drama playing out there in the field, and I'll get hold of Greg just now and find out an update on that.
Yeah, it's funny to think, I think anyone that's enjoying the series, this is sort of a side of our lives that they don't really get to see. They don't get to see the camp, but out there, it's within a sort of, generally a sort of 2 or 3 mile radius. That's where we find most of our cats. But the camp itself, it's fairly new. Talk us through.
Yeah, we've got a very good opportunity to build a permanent filming camp in a private area, and I think it's unique. There's not many places in the world that have a camp that is just dedicated to filming and all year round. The camp is fairly new. I've been living and working in this area for about 8 years now. And we had an opportunity to move from a camp which I ran tourism to this filming camp. We had to build it in about 100 days, is what it took us to build. And what we did is recycle an old tourist lodge. So most of the materials are actually reused materials, repurposed materials. And yeah, it's amazing to have an area that is purpose built for filming, and just where it is located is the best because it's right in the center of the lion pride territories. The leopard's core is right around the camp, so it's just an ideal place to be, and lucky enough to call it home.
Yeah. And it almost all went up in smoke just at the very start of the project last year. It was like things went from bad to worse. We saw some smoke way off in the horizon, and within 24 hours it was right here, massive fire.
It was really funny seeing Gordon arrive. He'd only been here for a couple of days, and he walked straight into the flames, literally, and the fire came right close against us, and with this dry it's a real threat. And the fire we actually managed to stop literally against our fire pit here and on the side of this on the side of the camp here.
It was
so
terrifying.
after 100 days of building, a couple of months later, we almost lost everything. So fires are a real problem in this area.
Somebody said they watched that episode and said, was it as scary as that? And I was like, no, it was much more scary.
Yeah, no, it's definitely played down in that episode.
What I will say, when you ask the questions in the comments box below, let us know where in the world that you're joining us from. I will be back shortly, but Brad's going to give you a little tour of the whole camp. See you soon. Take it away.
So just to give you an idea of HQ for us, this is what we call our main area, mess area. This is where everybody is running out of shot in behind. This is where all the meals happen. This is a sort of changeover place where crew on different shifts are coming and going. You know, because we're doing Big Cats 24/7, you know, it's not like everybody comes here in the evening and chills out. We've got crews leaving and departing, crews arriving late in the evening, so it's very much an exchange. A lot of ideas and concepts happen from there. We have a bar. I'm not going to tell you what we do in the bar, but it's not just a bar. Obviously you can get a drink and whatever and relax, but at the same time this is the main comms to all the crews out in the field. And I'm just going to check on Greg and see where he is. Greg, Brad.
Good afternoon, Baker.
Hey Greg, how far are you from camp, and are you still with lions?
Yeah, I'm just about a K&a-half to the northeast, and I'm with a few lions, just relaxing in the heat.
Okay, cool. Is there anything else going on close to those lions?
Yeah, the plains are busy here around the waters. We've got loads of ellies and lechwes. So yeah, lots of life around us at the moment.
All right, great. All right, cool. You're going to stay with them probably the rest of the day, I expect.
100%. There's a lot of potential here, I reckon. So happy to sit with them.
Cool. Thanks, Greg. We'll chat later on this afternoon. So that's Greg out in the field. He is that way, and a K&a-half away he's got 4 lions, some cubs. So it's all happening very close and all around camp. In the main area, what I do, which is helpful, is I've got a map of the entire area surrounding our camp. Obviously the camp is right in the center. These are 5 kilometer and 10 kilometer bands around our camp. And for example, if you're here in the morning having coffee and you hear lions calling out that way, this map is orientated correctly so that you can go they're over there and just draw a line and say, look, they're on PJ's Island, or they towards Giraffe Bridge or whatever. And it just gives you a good orientation. And also, as we're making decisions here, it's very easy to see how close areas are, what sort of proximity. This greater area is really Anna's domain. This is where the cheetah are moving on the big areas. The closer area is very much the leopard environment. It's nice and hot and windy at the moment. And then the lion dynamic overlaps all of them. So it's just a good orientation and a good understanding of the lay of the land and how the sand tongues and floodplains affect what the big cats do. And you can also see where the fires come from. So I'm just going to take you to the back of house a little bit. One of the more important things in the camp is the food. Happy crew is a fed crew. And this is the kitchen where all of this happens, and these guys are my chefs. and Eddie, our main camp manager. Which one is the better of the two chefs? Sam Wise. What are we having for dinner?
Now I have for beef curry and chickpea curry.
Beef and chickpea curry.
Rice and Greek salad.
Great. Thanks, guys. Yeah, they really look after us. I'd say probably the most important people in the camp in terms of keeping everybody happy and well nourished to keep up with the schedule. These are all the rooms that we do. So the external crew and the BBC guys that come in are spread out through here. There's 12 units here. All the entrances on the inside, keeping all of the activity on one side of the camp. As you go through the back here is the camera room, kit room. You can just see how many cases and how much gear we've actually brought in for this production. It's a lot of equipment. There's a lot of crews, a lot of PDs, multiple cameramen in the field. You know, it's quite a machine to keep on these cats 24/7. Have this baton handover day to night. So it's quite intense. One of the things that we do have is guys tend to spend a lot of time in vehicles, taking a camera out and pulling focus. They don't do much exercise, so we have a little homemade gym at the back, which is sort of frequented early morning and late afternoon, because otherwise it's just too hot. With all of the media coming in, we've got an edit suite in production here, and they're processing all that stuff and turning it around, and we've got batteries charging, so it's quite a power intensive process. And we've got a whole solar farm that is coping with all of the demands on the power. But basically, you know, I'm proud to say that it's a very green camp, mostly recycled materials, independent power, and just pure focus on actually filming and following these cats. You'll see all the buildings, offices are all faced inwards, the vehicles are that side, so we've got a bit of a safe area here. You must remember that this camp is not fenced at all. There's no barricades. We don't try and keep the animals out. We actually encourage them to come through. So we have elephants that move through here. We have lions moving through here at night a lot. We've got 2 leopards that are frequently coming through camp. So there's a lot of activity through the camp, and we sort of live with nature. We move around them, and if we're not aggressive towards them, generally they'll leave you alone. Obviously, guys have just got to be vigilant as they move. Before we go to the Q&A, I'm just going to hand you over to Gordon, who's in his little spaceship.
Oh. Ice cream, sir?
Soft serve?
Yeah, before I continue, just remember that we have this poll. We want to find out your favourite African big cat, lions, leopards or cheetahs. It's on the Instagram page. I've actually got some questions here already that I can answer. You can continue to ask questions. Brad and Sets and Anna and I will do our best to answer them in a little while. The question I have here is from Ryan Mason, or Ryan Mason's son, Harry. He's 5. He said, what do we eat when we're out in the vehicle? We eat quite well, quite healthily. I don't tend to eat that much because you don't really get that much exercise, because when you come out in a vehicle you could be out for days and days and you're not able to go for a walk or go for a run or anything like that. But we carry all of our food with us, a lot of sort of dried goods and tinned stuff, but we do have fridges with little freezer compartments so we can take out frozen meals and defrost them and eat them. You can put salad in here. We've got some healthy options, pears, healthy options, apples, less of a healthy option. I was debating whether I should reveal this, but I carry with me not tomato ketchup. It's a tomato ketchup bottle, but in it there's some condensed milk, which is sweet and creamy and actually quite addictive. So that's the only kind of luxury item that I have, the only unhealthy thing that I have. You can put it on your porridge, you can put it in your tea, put it in your coffee, you can just squeeze it straight into your mouth. Another question that we have, it's kind of regarding safety. We've got some safety equipment on board. These help us get out of kind of muddy ground. We've got sat phones, medical kits, we've got tow ropes, tools, fire extinguishers, all of that. But let me see. I'm a donut asks, how do we keep safe from big cats? When we're in open-sided vehicles like this, you will notice that this four-wheel drive vehicle is lacking a door or missing a door. The fact is we don't need the doors. It helps us operate the cameras. You sit like this, you can drive along, lean out. Do big cats come close? Yes, they do. They come very close. We've had occasions, or I've had many occasions when we've had even the biggest lions walking within a metre from my little tootsies as I'm sitting here. And it does raise the blood pressure a little bit, but I've kind of got used to it and I feel 100% safe, very comfortable, because I know these cats just do not associate us with food. It's like if a big cat had a menu, and on that menu there's wildebeest, buffalo, lechwe, antelope, different things. It's kind of like that's what they eat. That's what they know how to catch. That, and with each of those prey species, there's risk involved, and the worst thing that can happen to any big cat is it gets hurt. If it gets hurt, it can't hunt. So they're not going to take any risks. They're going to stick to their menu. They just don't see us as being independent of the vehicle. Staying safe at night time. Sometimes we're sleeping out so we can stay with the cats 24/7. We don't sleep in the vehicle. You could, but it's much more comfortable to sleep up on top. So this is all padded. We've got this sleeping mat for the winter, which is Baltic, really freezing cold. We've got blankets and duvets. The coldest I've been in recent years, having worked in the Arctic, having worked in some like tops of mountains, the coldest I've been was in the Okavango last year. It was really cold. At this time of year you can sleep up there, you don't need many blankets, just a mosquito net. When it comes to kit, anyone that's interested in the sort of tech side of things, this is the main daytime camera. It's a 50 to 1000 lens, if that kind of thing floats your boat. So you can film animals at quite a distance. You can get big close-ups if you've got any of the cats really close. You can get big close-ups, big eyes, sort of, you know, the gory details of animals being consumed. When it comes to the aerial side of things, we've got various drones. A lot of these are just kind of off-the-shelf type equipment. We've got drones for daytime. We've got thermal imaging drones, so we can film on the ground 24/7. We can film from the air 24/7. We've got camera traps that we can put out. We've got some other little kind of off-the-shelf mini rig cameras that we can film ourselves. So all in all, we have got somewhere in the region of 50 different cameras, and that is those cameras that do enable us to film 24/7. I shouldn't say the cameras, it's the camera crew that enable us to film 24/7. So yeah, we've seen the truck, we've seen the camp. Now you get to see Anna and Sets. Questions? Hang on. This is when I'm going to hopefully see our questions flood in.
What have you got for us?
Nothing as yet. Just talk amongst yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Let me just. Okay. Got one here. This one is for Anna. From Steve O'Fraser. How is Pobby? We didn't see much of her in the latter episodes. Why was that?
Yeah, that is a good question. Cheetahs are pretty hard to track around here, and that is mainly due to this location where we're filming, which is home to one of the biggest lion prides that we know of in the world. And lions and cheetahs, or cheetahs and lions, they don't mix, they don't get along. So that's the first reason. The second reason, I'd say, is that massive fire that we had. We had a fire that came through and it essentially decimated a load of the cheetahs' territory, which meant that they were basically forced out further afield. But
all the prey disappeared as
yeah,
well in the fires, so Pobby had to search much further wide
yeah,
to try and keep up with it.
yeah. Well, I've heard good things, because I've heard after the making of season 1 that she has been seen around. So yeah, I'm really excited, hopefully, to catch up with her for season 2.
Okay. We have another question. Question is from Angus Hunter 8. Sets. What's the biggest challenge that you've found? I think it's probably been all sort of different for each of us. What's the biggest challenge for you filming this series?
I think being invested in the animals is the biggest one. You follow them during the day, they move about, show some behavior, and when it spills over to the night, you kind of want to follow them and see what they're doing. So just having to manage your energies and making sure that you capture the story is one of the big challenges.
Mm-hmm. Brad, you've kind of filmed in this part of the world more than any of us. What do you, for this series, what do you think's the biggest challenge been? Don't say working with us.
Yeah, being around people while filming big cats. I think the biggest challenge has been the sudden switch of environment once that fire came through.
Yeah.
It really changed the behavior of all the lions. Pobby got affected heavily by it. And the lion pride really started gathering in one small unburnt section. So, you know, I think sticking with all the different predators, but watching them all come across each other was probably one of the hardest parts.
I know. Hardest part. Is it all easy for you?
It's so easy. No, I think when filming cheetah this time of year, when it's like 38, 40 degrees, they're the big cat that are most active during the day. So whilst the lions are sleeping, the cheetahs are up and moving, and you've got to be with them throughout the hottest part of the day. And for me, coming from the UK, that's pretty hard. That's probably the hardest part for me, Gordon.
I think the hardest part for me was navigating around this place. When I first arrived, I think because there's no landmarks, there's no distant mountains or escarpments, there are sort of recognisable trees, but I found it really difficult trying to kind of get this environment into my head.
We always talk about floodplains and islands.
Yeah, that meant nothing to me.
And then unless you actually see it in the flood, you can't really distinguish easily. So
Yeah, because it's like,
I can get it.
when we came in and someone would say, you're welcome to Kudum Island, I was like,
Where? Where's the
I'll
water?
take your word for it. But yeah, you definitely kind of, you get around. But then when the fire came, then you had to kind of relearn a lot because it did transform the whole place.
It did.
Yeah, okay. Caitlin Klein asks, how did you decide which animals to focus on to build a compelling story? You talk about lion sets, maybe.
Yeah. Well, because we've been following these lions for a long time before the Big Cat series started, we had rough ideas of the dynamics of the pride and what they're really on about. So from there, we were able to identify key characters that we can follow, and we derive from that. And as the storylines progress, we sort of pivot as much as we can to see which one's showing more interesting behavior and how that would add on to the series as we're filming it.
Yeah. One thing that I think with the lions, it's more complicated because there's more of them. So if you watch the series, if you haven't yet watched it, pay close attention to the names of all of the cats because they will crop up again and you will really get to know each of those characters. But it is like watching Game of Thrones. You will get confused unless you pay attention to who those cat characters are. So when it came to the leopards, how did you decide who?
Well, just
Kudum's the star, so how did she become
yeah,
that?
I mean, overall, we've been based here for about 8 years, and we've been slowly unpacking the predators and all the main characters in this area. And it's our main core pride that centers around our camp. And the fact is, leading up to the series, they were starting to become a really formidable pride, and now have grown into the biggest pride in Africa. And then while living in this area, we got to know a few cheetah, and one particular female kept coming in. She arrived first with us with a cub, and the cub was just about out the door, and she separated from the cub, and then Anna picked up the story with her. And then leopards, it's whatever leopards come closest to my camp, and whatever comes into the camp are the ones that I...
Low-hanging fruit.
Low-hanging fruit, just so I don't have to travel too far from home.
Yeah, work smart, not hard.
And
Exactly.
you definitely had the toughest challenge. So I suppose with cheetahs, it was just
whichever cheetah decided to come onto Kudum Island. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But you got a good one.
Yeah, I know. Well,
One.
I mean, that's,
Pobby is phenomenal cat.
Yeah, she's my favourite cat in the world.
yeah. I mean, and with all of the cats, there is no weakest link. It's not, because I thought at the beginning, it's like, some of the stories aren't going to come. There is going to be a species that we're going to, is going to be the kind of, the sea story. But just up and down. It is a real roller coaster, and yeah, it's been such a joy to have worked on it and to be back for a second series. Another question.
And
This is from
talking about the second series, it's amazing how all of that's shifting.
Yeah.
yeah,
Those stars are now
yeah.
coming back, so you've got to pay attention.
Yeah, it's all changed. Yeah, you're not going to see. That's the the only spoiler we can give you is that we're not going to see a repeat of much that we saw in series 1. One more question. We've got Gabo's Riviera. How long do you guys film in a day? I mean, there's days that I've filmed literally 24 hours or more. Average day. What does that look like for you, Anna?
It depends, I think, on what cat I'm following. But you basically you're moving with the cats and you're going on their schedule. So whilst the cat's moving, you are with them. And then if you need to take a break and step back, then someone else in the team will come out. And that is the way that we keep this like rolling 24-hour thing going. So yeah, you can be out for 19 hours, you can be out for 24 hours, you can be out for 5 hours. It's just purely dependent on what is playing out in front of you.
Yeah.
Mostly it's an 18-hour day,
Yeah.
and because it's an 18-hour day, you've got to sort of pace yourself. You've got to make it sustainable. So when the cats are down, you're down, and you have someone else looking after it. We have 2 guys in a car or 2 different vehicles, and we just switch out and try and get some rest in between those hours. But you will be out in the field 18 hours a day, pretty much.
I suppose I've just done a week of night shift, and that's in some ways it's easier because the days are shorter. You just need to be out there for before the sun sets. There's a few nights we were out with sets, and we were literally out from an hour before sunset and came back as the sun was rising.
Yeah.
So you're literally kind of living the life of a vampire. You're sleeping while everyone else is
Well,
out
I mean,
in the field.
it's appropriate because, you know, you see the colour of me, you see Anna,
I know, yeah.
and we send the Scotsman out for the night.
That's a night shift.
I mean, luckily for us is we always react to the cat's behavior. So you can follow them the whole day and see what they get about, but you make a decision looking at if they're going to be active or they're going to be lazy that day. So it kind of helps with you and planning on how you're going to approach it.
Yeah, I don't know how. We've got time.
And I think there's also management in terms of what we can do. I mean, there are a lot of situations at night where you have to be incredibly sensitive to the animals. For example, leopard with a really newborn cub who is not habituated to us. We don't want to be pushing her around at night trying to do that. We wait until she's on her own, or we wait until she gets a carcass that is a little more stable. There's a lot of things that we manage around that, but we try and keep up with them as much as we can without impacting them.
Another question from Kito Katho. Does a domestic cat have the same behaviour as a wild cat? I'd say largely they do.
I would argue that out of the big cats, the leopard is the only one that still has all of those domestic cat attributes.
Oh, really?
Why is
I
that?
think that because they still have a bone in their wrist that allows them to climb, it's all about stealth, it's all about sneaking. You know, the other big cats have evolved in size, which makes them less stealthy. It's more about brute force in a group. Cheetah is all about speed. And I think a leopard is much more like that solitary house cat that you've got. And, you know, there's been a number of comparisons, and I really believe that, you know, if you just watch your cat at home and the way it plays with something, hunts, it's exactly the same as what you would see in your domestic cat. So, you know, I think there's much more leopard orientated.
That's why I think a lot of in the UK, I've yet to see compelling evidence that there are any big cats in the UK, but it is an easy thing to misidentify a big domestic cat and the way that it moves, especially if it's in hunt mode.
Mancoon.
Yeah. But there's kind of, I suppose, I mean, when the kids are watching the cubs play, the lion cubs, and obviously lions are, you know, sociable, so there's nothing really about the kind of sort of social life of a domestic cats are solitary. But when you watch the cats play, there's a lot of comparison. It's not a feather duster, it's swatting the adult's tail. So there is a lot that you can draw. But as you say, the leopard is the most like them.
Yeah.
Another question from Wildlife Moment by Praj. How long, year or month, does it take to document an episode? So we've kind of last year we were sort of here over a six month period. So it's sort of what does that work? Kind of roughly an episode a month 6 months,
Give
6
or take.
episodes.
Yeah.
Pretty short for
But we had,
history.
what were the figures on how many hours we filmed
It's like
last year?
10,000
10,000,
hours,
yeah.
pretty much.
10,000 hours.
I think the thing that helps us is the size of the team, because we can delegate to all the behaviors that's happening. We can capture a lot, and that's what's helped us to get so much content in that limited amount of time. Because usually,
I'm used to a more normal environment where you've got 2, maybe 3 cameramen, and we've got a couple of years to follow a particular creature. But in this situation, it's 7, 8 cameramen constantly revolving, covering almost everything, every big cat, anything that moves, opposed to a dog.
And I suppose one thing that we do is sort of move resources around. So initially, when we were struggling with the cheetahs, there was more resources, more people put in to Savannah's team. Then towards the end of the trip, I was struggling to find Madumo and Big Toe, so we put more effort into that. But it's movable. It's never, it's rarely easy. But yeah, roughly works out about a month. And there's a lot of us here, so a month. And God, I'm forgetting about the whole production side of things. So all the pre-planning, you can add another 9 months onto that. You can add another 9 months onto the end. So you've got the edit team back in the UK. You've got sort of exec producers in the States. So it's not just us here. It is, this is a big enough team in itself. But the wider Big Cats 24/7 team is international.
One year, one season.
Yeah.
You can work it on that, and I promise you, we flat out literally until we deliver it. It takes the best part of a year to deliver a series.
Another question from Jay Lousy. What's the rarest animal you've encountered during filming, and how did you capture that? The rarest animal that I think Sets and I saw twice last year was a pangolin.
Oh, yes.
We were just sitting waiting for the lines to do something. This lovely big pangolin just sort of this time of day, sort of late afternoon, just started ambling along. We filmed it. It didn't make it into the series. It's kind of, you'll find that there's not many distractions from the cats. It's all about this series is Big Cat 24/7. So when a big pangolin rocks up, it's amazing to see, and we can enjoy it. And we took a couple of photos, but it didn't make it into the series. But without a doubt, that's the rarest I've seen. But you've seen something rarer than that.
Yeah, I did see something rare. It was the first time seeing it. It was an odd wolf moving about in the evening, and that was a first for me. I really loved seeing that. It was amazing.
Anna, have you seen anything rare?
I had never seen a batted fox before, and I love them. They're really cool. I also have been named batted fox because I tend to hear things really well. But yeah, they're really cool and super rare to see, I think, as well.
Okay. I'm going to do a shout out to some people. Hello to Vicky in Poland. Hello to Sandra Lombardo in Italy. It'd be interesting to find out, actually, if you want more questions, so just keep them coming in the comments box. Also, it'd be quite interesting to know how far-flung everybody is. In the moment, we're quite far-flung. We're in the middle of the Okavango Delta. But if you're somewhere really, really remote, Timbuktu, actually that's close to us, so if you're on the other side of the planet, let us know where you are. Another question, this is from zoologist Neve. Do you struggle with not being able to interfere with the natural processes?
Yes and no. I think the whole predator-prey scenario is a very natural scenario for us, and we don't sort of empathize heavily with the prey and want to intervene and get involved. Where it does come up as a question is when you've invested a lot into a particular character. So leopard has cubs, for example. I'm not going to spoil what's happening on air tonight, but it's very tough to sit by and watch drama unfold and potentially lose one of your key characters. And that's the only time that I think it really becomes a conflict for me. But obviously we'd never intervene. If a cub is going to die out here, that's what keeps the gene pool's integrity alive. That's why this area is so productive and so prominent. So it's a it's a tough one, but you know, it weighs on your mind. But you've just got to really let nature take its course. This is a wilderness area. There's very little human impact in this area, and it's the way of the wild. And you know, as filmmakers, I guess we reconcile to that concept.
Do you have a female, more empathetic perspective? We're all emotionally in tuned, emotionally intelligent blokes, but like, do you find that difficult?
Yeah, I do find it really difficult when you can see something that is so clearly going to happen and you can't stop it. It is really hard, and obviously emotional attachments come very quick and easy here. But what I always say to people is, we are here filming and we're here observing, so whatever is happening in front of us, the key is that it would be happening even if we weren't here. So it would be very unnatural for us to get involved in their world. You know, it is their world. That's what's happening.
This
so.
really is one of the last true wildernesses around,
Yeah.
and there's a natural process, and we try not to impact, and don't involve yourself.
And I do appreciate that people find that hard to stomach, sort of seeing one animal consume another. But I think for anyone watching it, you have to appreciate that this is kind of part of nature. This is, if life is tough for any creature out here, it is the predators. I think, you know, the animals that we've seen in most trouble, the biggest challenges have always been the cats. You know, there's a lot. It's like, if you would rather be a buffalo out here or a lion, in many ways a buffalo have an easier life of it. Right.
So I'm going to ask you a question. So what would your takeaway be from the first season being here? What do you think? What would your takeaway? What do you remember most?
I mean, there's lots of moments I think that really stick out. There's one male that we filmed last year, and he didn't pop up, he didn't become a main character, but he was a lion that was, I thought, on death's door. Sets and I bumped into him, and I got really quite upset, because I was like, this lion is not going to last another week. He was emaciated, really badly injured, and lo and behold, a year on, he is still around. So I think that's my kind of appreciation for how tough, let's just talk about lions, how tough these cats are, because in their life they go through so much. Even to make it to adulthood is like a massive challenge in itself. And those males, as big and as strong as they are, they have really, really tough lives. Everything is kind of against them. To rise to the top or find a way to the top, like all of the males that we've got to know, is not easy.
I mean, finding a way to the top is the only way you continue.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just this constant struggle.
It is.
Interesting.
Question from It's Josie 333. How did you get into the wildlife filmmaking industry? It's my dream. I mean, for me, I think it is a dream job. I was lucky enough that I met somebody that was a wildlife filmmaker when I was 17. I buttered him up and he offered me a job. That's the shorthand. Sets, how did you get into, there's not many African wildlife filmmakers?
Yeah, and I'm grateful to be the first native Motswana to be a wildlife cameraman. Thanks to Brad, he took me in, taught me the ropes, and it's because I grew up watching wildlife from a young age, and I actually saw a lot of his shows on television, not knowing it was him. So it was a nice full circle getting to work for someone I saw his content on the television. And then as I graduated from university, I went and asked a few questions, and luckily I was given that opportunity and connected to Brad, and here we are 4 years later. Yeah.
Been a great journey.
I interestingly went through the diving route, so which is really ironic considering I'm now spending like a lot of my year in a landlocked country. But I've got a bit of sand here. It's as close as we're getting. It was mainly through diving and my love of filmmaking, and just like merging those two together. I was always super passionate about wildlife, but it was also about getting hands-on time with a camera, which is really hard because we all know how expensive these cameras are. But I'd say, like, don't let that stop you. You can pick up your iPhone and film your fox in your back garden. It's just about learning all of the skills and all of the sort of steps to create a compelling story. What I would say as a woman in the industry is that you might find that you have some doors in your face early on. There's a lot of people who think that this career isn't designed for females, or females aren't designed for this career, but I would say that they are completely wrong. And I think it's actually that stereotype that has stopped so many women and girls from getting into it. And yeah, you've just got to ignore that, push through that, and I guarantee you have the most amazing career that you could possibly dream of. Yeah, just do it.
We've got some shout outs. Hawk Fault says hello from France. Hello. From Pennsylvania. Hawk Fault.
Hawk Fault.
Hawk Fault. Psyche Corey from Pennsylvania in the US.
Oh, cool.
Oh no, hang on. Dancer says hello from Australia. Hello, Dancer. Arun Sharma from India.
No.
Okay. Yeah, no. Australian dance. No, let's not go there. Questions. Have we got time for any more questions? We've got one here. Cognis has asked, what's the rarest behaviour you've captured on film? Presumably meant here. Brad, you've been here the longest. Like, what would you say? Like, what's the thing that you've saw once and you've never seen again, if there is such a thing?
I think the rarest stuff that I've filmed has been leopards eating lion cubs.
Whoa.
Which a lot of people don't realise is that lions have to leave their cubs. They break away from the pride to have them, and they've got to leave them alone for a long period of time. And they're a lot less equipped than, say, leopard cubs who hide really well. And I maintain that a lot more lions die from leopards than we.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
That makes sense. Sets and I just the other night, no spoilers, but we saw something, filmed something that I don't think we're going to see again. But that you're going to have to wait another year for Big Cats season 2. Rare, what sort of rarity?
Well,
something
What you can talk about?
Possibly.
one that I could talk about, I guess in the first season, seeing what lengths lions would go to have some food, to steal food. You learn a lot about their character when you watch them scrounging.
Tenacity.
But yeah, as Gordon said, no spoilers, so you have to wait for series 2.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that is a real surprise is that, you know, when the second series was commissioned, I was like, gosh, how much is it going to be a repeat? Is it going to be the same? And you literally go out every day or every night in the knowledge that you are going to see something that, you know, that may have never been seen before or we haven't filmed. So yeah, and it is a relief that you want the second season to sort of, be unique and different and more special.
Just think about what we've witnessed in the last 36 hours.
I know, it really is. As a great man once said, it gets crazy. Emma D asks, have any of the cats come into camp? Yes.
I think all of the cats.
Yeah.
Actually, Pobby wasn't far. She was at the pool here.
When?
In the interim period.
Yeah.
We had Pobby at the pool just
Okay.
ahead of us.
Wow.
So that puts probably every single big cat that is a character has walked through camp at some point.
Because if you look at the footprint of the camp itself, we've obviously got the kind of the accommodation block here, and we've got other blocks there. But if you look at it from the air, this is still the heart of the Delta. We haven't borrowed this from the animals that live here. We literally share it. So baboons, hyenas, elephants frequently, and yeah, all of the cats. We've got camera traps set up around the camp, so it's quite amazing.
Was it 2 nights ago? You had all the lions.
Yeah.
You had 5 lions walking right through.
Just like walk through, and I was driving in front. So yeah, it routinely happens, and I think. So
you use a torch.
Yeah.
Go in 2s.
We've got air horns as well. Should you need to raise the alarm, but I think everybody here, naturally, you don't wander about. You know, I sort of at night time coming in, and sort of often I'm the last one to bed, and I will have a head torch on. Before I walk anywhere, I'll scan around. Especially at night time, you'll pick up the eye shine of any cats that are around. I'm out of questions, unless any more are going to come in. Do we know? No, I think that is it for the questions. Thank you for all of. Hopefully, we managed to answer all of them, but we are running out of time. the results of the poll, I don't have them, but someone off screen tell me what that is. Do you have a favourite? You don't have to say the cat that you're...
Do I have a favourite? I do have a favourite because I've spent the majority of my time with her. That's definitely Cheetah's Pobby. They're incredible, I think. They're both beautiful, smart, and they run super fast. So take that, Brad. What have your leopards got?
Leopards, obviously, for me.
Yeah.
For me, it's the ultimate big cat, despite what you guys say. It's the one big cat that has sort of got to a big cat size, but has retained all of that typical house cat character. It can climb, it can jump, it's incredibly fluid. Stalking and ambushing is unbelievable. I just think it's the ultimate big cat. Never sleeps, always got one eye open, and you can never sleep in the car near it.
You're not describing Jesus.
You've got to be alert to it all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely big cats.
Sets, do you have a
Leopard
favourite?
is-
Well, I think by default, my favorite is lion because of their social structures and really understanding how different they are, the different characters. Because when you see a pride together, you'd think maybe they have the same behavior. Generally, they have a behavior that groups them. Like ours climb trees, they swim, they hunt in the water, but you get to see the individual characters as well, and you see how different they are. So you can kind of identify the features that separate them from the others, and I quite enjoy that.
Yeah,
He likes being part of a rugby team.
Yeah.
Well, it's ridiculous. It's really hard to, you could ask me on any given day, some days it's like these lions are incredible. I've filmed cheetahs, not so much here, but I've spent, days with cheetahs and they are the coolest cat. I would say for me and with Brad, leopards are just
Supreme.
beautiful.
So vote number
the
one
way
for
they
leopards.
move, they take your breath away. And I have spent, prior to this project, I've spent more time with leopards than any other big. And where and how they can live is another thing. There's sort of, you can film them living in sort of in Mumbai in India, film them in across Asia and Sri Lanka, out here in Africa. But lions and cheetahs are all really cool. But you think, it doesn't matter what we think, you have voted top of the poll, lions, top of the poll.
Oh,
there you go. Followed by cheetahs.
Wow.
Followed by what's the other one? Leopards. But no, thank you for that. And thank you for your questions. Thank you for adding to the poll. That brings the live stream to an end. If you need your big cat fix, all episodes are being streamed on the BBC iPlayer in the UK, on the PBS app in the United States. If you're somewhere else in the world, if you check out bbcearth.com, you will find out where Big Cat 24/7 is being shown, being aired in whatever region of the world that you are. The season finale is going to be shown tonight in the UK. That's on BBC 2 at 8 p.m. So if you've been enjoying the series and you haven't been binging it, yeah, enjoy that final episode. They're all amazing. It's amazing to be back here. And we're all going to get back to work. Sets and I will probably be heading back out to see the lions. Brad, he'll be heading out for his leopards.
I'm going to go cry myself to sleep.
Yeah, Anna back with the cheetahs. But yeah, thank you for joining us wherever in the world you are. And thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys.